Recorder Grot. Here, I want to hear this one song. Hold on. So the Recorder Grot rally was like a nod to like a Strangler song. I don't know if anybody knew that, but
they do now.
Oh yeah, that thing. We used to play these songs live.
So is that sound you hear at the beginning? Is that the tape going into play, or is that a guitar plugging in? Like, what is that at the beginning?
It was It was like like a tape recorder.
Gotcha.
That the batteries were so old that it just made this amazing. It wasn't a tape recorder. It was a keyboard. It was like a Casio keyboard where the batteries were really old.
Yeah.
And it just made these incredible sounds.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And you guys just captured it.
Yeah.
I know it's so weird to be answering questions from 30 years ago or thinking about things, because things happen for you guys pretty quickly, right? Like, I mean, you did like 4 sessions and then you were like, it's slanted, and it's like, then before you know it, it's Crooked Rain, and
Yeah, it all kind of
holy
happened.
Jesus. Welcome to Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast. Hey there, it's JD back for another week. Hope everybody is doing wonderfully. I am really quite miserable. I can't lie to you. I'm on the road this week. I don't want this podcast to really get into my personal life, so I will leave it at that. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and send me your good vibes and good thoughts. How about that? How about that? So, how about that? So this week we are getting ready to wrap up side 1 of EP 2, Recorder Grot on Demolition Plot J7. That's a lot of numbers and a lot of strange words. Speaking of strange words, last week's episode, Spizzle Trunk, I got a real cool email from Richard from Leeds, incidentally the home of The Wedding Present. And Richard wanted to listen. You guys all have sent really great emails. This one is one that I'm going to share with you this week, though, because it's got the bones of a theory, to use his term. It's got the bones of a theory. I really like that idea. That must be a British thing. Bones of a theory. I love it. Anyway, he says, and this is a good tip in life, I think. JD, if you Google the word spizzle, you get from the Urban Dictionary. So let me translate my poor reading of that email. Go to urbandictionary.com, type in the word spizzle, and what Urban Dictionary spits out is, quote, originally came from the Spot, a place to get heroin or crack from Chicago's West Side, end quote. Richard adds, add the word trunk, and you've basically got Iggy Pop circa 1975. Trunk, of course, being another word for torso. Combined with some of the lyrics from the song, I think it's got the, quote, bones of a theory. Interesting. Richard, that is interesting. And I got to tell you that, God, I don't know. I think that I think it does have the bones of a theory. I'll have to analyze the lyrics a little more closely, but I'm gonna err on the side of I still think it's just a fun fucking word to say. So I did get an email back from Spiral, and he sort of lends credence to that theory as well. He said in his message, he said, Spizzle Trunk. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. That was probably just Malcolm is putting 2 words together. So I think sometimes, it, what do they call that? They call that the Occam's razor, or Occam's razor rather. And sometimes it's the simplest solution. Speaking of Spiral Stairs, I thought it might be cool to go back to some more of that interview, and that's what kicked off this show today. So let's listen to a little more Spiral. This is Mr. Stairs discussing the early influences of the band.
Hex Induction Hour and, those kind of, third or fourth Fall records. And it was just us trying to kind of,
So that record in particular is one we should listen to if we want to sort of get a sense of, where you guys were coming from.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
What else were you listening to at the time?
Oh, Swell Maps.
Okay, yeah.
Swell Maps is a big influence on like the Spizzle Trunk is just like, it's got a lot of elements of a Swell Maps. In fact, the whole EP is very Swell Mapsy. Yeah, I mean, the first Dinosaur record, of course, Sonic Youth.
Yeah, it's definitely more, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like a noisier record, right? Like a way more, there's a lot more, it feels like there's a lot more going on in this record. Did you guys bring more instruments to the table? Were you doing extra tracks, overdubbing, like with more instruments?
Not really. No? Not really. It's all basic. A couple guitars, maybe a overdubbed lead guitar. There's actually a lot of kind of percussion in it. That was really, Gary had a lot of percussion toys. I think.
Have to turn the filter off.
Hold on. What?
Do I have to turn the filter off?
What filter?
Well,
oh yeah. You have to turn the filter off.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. There was a lot of percussion, which is maybe came because of we were listening to a lot of the Can records at that time too.
A lot of what? Sorry.
Can records.
Oh, okay.
German band.
Don't know them at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Is that something to try and grab?
You have to get into Can, man. They were the best.
Is it with a K or with a C?
CAN. They're krautrock. That was a huge influence on early Pavement stuff.
Oh, I can't wait! I have a long bus ride today. I'm gonna download some and listen to it on the way. Yeah.
Tagamago, soundtracks. What's another one? Monster Movie. I mean, all that early stuff is just seminal. You'll get it. You'll get it when you hear it. You'll be like, okay, I get it now.
Oh man, that laugh at the end is just fucking brutal. But what can you do? It was funny to me at the time, I suppose. It's just sort of sometimes the way you end a sentence, isn't it? Okay, let's flash backwards. Let's go back to October 17th, 1989 at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, local time, San Francisco. You might remember the massive earthquake that struck. And I can tell you that it was very memorable to me. I was at a work party, and it was one of the first times I drank, and I was watching the World Series baseball game when the screen started to go herky-jerky and they got cut off, and then we learned of this terrible earthquake. I can tell you that just 83 miles down the I-580 in Stockton, there was also something going on that was chaotic, that was loud, that for some people might be very frightening as well. And that was the recording of Demolition Plot J7. It was at the Louder Than You Think studios. There was Spiral Stairs, Stephen Malcolmus. They had a drummer. His name was Jason Fox. And apparently, if you've been listening to these episodes, Gary Young, the producer and engineer, was pretty jealous of Mr. Fox, and Fox did not last. He drummed on Forklift, but that was the extent of his drumming for this record, as from what I understand. I could be corrected, but my understanding is that SM and Spiral did the yeoman's work in terms of drumming on the rest of the record. That would include the song we're talking about today, Recorder Grot. I think that Recorder Grot is really in an interesting category of Pavement songs. It is like I said, it's a gnarly, earthquakey, crowd running away from a monster kind of song. Right from the opening feedback, it is very different than what we've heard so far. There's not a lot of pop sensibility. When you think of the first two tracks on this record, you start out with the heavy hitter Forklift, and then you go into this more nuanced song, Spizzle Trunk. Now you've got Recorder Grot, and it's just very different from what we've heard. There are again shouted lyrics. There is a cacophony of information being, uploaded to the listener, and we don't even know what the fuck uploaded means in 1990 when this record came out. So it's confusing. I can tell you that the 1990 version of myself would have been, if this song was my introduction to Pavement, I don't know that I continue on the journey, I think that you give me Forklift, you give me Spizzle Trunk, you give me She Believes, you give me Box Elder, I'm in for life. This song doesn't hook me. There's no real hook to this. And it's not to say that it's a bad song. It's just not my favorite. It's the third song on the first side of an EP, and it's right where it belongs. It's we're getting ready to turn the record over and start anew. And, as such, Recorder Grot is perfect in that role. That's what I think. There's some noise going on in the background, and I apologize for that. But Recorder Grot, I took Richard's advice, and I took both of those words as a phrase and individual words and put them into Urban Dictionary. And I got nothing for recorder other than a woodwind instrument, or usually a wood flute like instrument, or recorder, not a flute, but a piccolo. No, not a piccolo, because they're both by the side. But an instrument that you blow in from the front. It's a recorder, you know what I'm saying? Grot, on the other hand, comes up in the dictionary as something unpleasantly or of poor quality. So you would say this TV show is just The Grots, or this TV show is Grot. So it's dirty, it's gnarly, it's just, it doesn't have a good sort of vibe to it, I'm not sure how the recorder piece fits, but maybe, okay, let me just go out on a limb here. Maybe this is him describing Gary's studio. Maybe this is describing Louder Than You Think. This is a Recorder Grot. This is where we're producing this record. And it is, Recorder Grot. What's all over that tape machine, Gary? Oh, that's a Recorder Grot. I don't know. But that's just, a theory I'm banging out there as we go. Anyway, if you've got ideas of your own, please send them my way. info@meetingmalcolmus.com. I hope this episode has done enough for Stephen to come aboard and meet me someday so we can shake hands and I can tell him what he has meant to me. In the interim, let's listen to Recorder Grot on Meeting Malcolmus, a Pavement podcast. Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast, is a weekly affair. You can listen, share, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about the show, go to www.meetingmalcolmus.com. I tweet and Instagram at Meeting Malcolmus. Steven, are you listening?
Get even more savings this holiday season by becoming a Milo's Rewards member. Don't miss new member deals dropping every week, like $15 off a purchase of $50 or more on select Bounty, Charmin, and Puffs paper products. Plus, get free standard shipping with Silver Key status. Just one more way Lowe's is here to help you shop, save, and enjoy the holidays. Join for free today. Milo's Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. Exclusions and more terms apply. Visit Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.